Hello, Jerry Beal here, and this audio is entitled, How Can What Happened in the Past Affect You in the Present or Affect You in a Future Present? The answer is, it can't, but we unquestioningly believe it can and does. That's correct. For it, no matter what it is, whether it be a person, a condition, or an event, can't affect you at all. I know that comes as a surprise to you, so please listen on so that you can understand what I'm telling you there. But nearly everyone in the world believes it can, believes it does, and believes it will continue to affect you. This is the biggest mind mistake by far that you've ever made or ever will make in all of infinity. And as a matter of fact, this mind mistake is provable as a matter of fact. That's what miscreates our ongoing games of better and worse conditions and events are causing better and worse feelings, better and worse experiences, and thus better and worse lives. You know, that's the whole entire game that we're playing, is a game of better and worse, where we think we're rewarded and where we think sometimes we're victimized. And it's all a pretense. It's not happening that way at all. That's our wholesale and very false attachments to the material world, where when we pass our mortal coils and are in the same wrong-mindedness when we pass our mortal coils, as nearly everyone is now, we find that we didn't go to heaven or hell, but just back to the same old environment of lies and illusions that keep us cycling in our own mind messes. We'll reincarnate where we, as cause, will still go on pretending the roles of effect. And that's what's happening on planet Earth in 3 dimensions, at least for us. And so from our early formative years, we've been involved in a human thought reversal problem where we're constructing and reinforcing a personal and social world based on that horrible, massive lie. As in, let's pretend what happens in the world is affecting our feelings and our experiences of life. And then we say therefore, and then that therefore, creates all kinds of things. Therefore this, I'll go here and do this or that, manipulate this way and that way, and it's all bullshit. And where nearly everyone is unconsciously conspired in that very addictive game of pretenses. The reason I know it's a game or a dream going on is that the we who perceives is once removed from it through our own beliefs and interpretations about it, just like we use game rules. And what you just heard is experiential and provable through our direct experience. Again, I'm telling you, this is all a matter of fact and truth. In other words, we can experience that we're once removed. We don't have to just believe it. We can experience it as the truth. That once removed place is how all games we play or dreams we dream are positioned. We, as the player of the game or the dreamer of the dream, are always once removed from the game or the dream. And it's no different for us on planet Earth in 3 dimensions, with all of our people agreements and manipulating game rules. Thus, our entire social world is a passive and aggressive manipulating game of pretenses going on unnoticed and thus unaccounted for. Here's a few names for the game that we're playing. Number 1, let's pretend events are causing experiences. Number 2, let's pretend better conditions are causing better lives and worse conditions are causing worse lives. Number 3, let's pretend our interpretations about the conditions and about the events have nothing at all to do with our resulting feelings and experiences of life. Number 4, let's pretend we are our bodies so that we can more convincingly pretend that the conditions and events are affecting our feelings and our experiences. There are other names for this game too, but you've heard enough to realize that we are not lining up cause and effect when we come away with our feelings and experiences of life. And if you don't think that's a problem, you sure as hell have your head in the sand. And yet only our feelings and our experiences are able to matter in this kind of a time-space material world. You know, of course our bodies matter, and so the care and keeping of bodies matter, but it's sort of a secondary matter because all of us are going to die sometime. It's our feelings and experiences that matter, you know. Thus, the only aspects of our lives that truly matter are our feelings and experiences, are coming from this passive and aggressive manipulating game of pretenses going on unnoticed and thus unaccounted for. Here's a wonderful paraphrase that took me a while to get, but when I did get it, it was one of the most significant miracles in my life so far. And by the way, A Course in Miracles defines a miracle as a shift in perception toward love, where the word love could be thought of as absolute truth, real reality, or our full-out acceptance of what is or was as it is or was. You get that? That's what's called a miracle. Because every time you have that shift in perception, and in effect it's the mixing up of our mental world with our material world without realizing it. But you know, the word love could be thought of as truth or reality, or just accepting what is or was as it is or was, not running around judging it, in other words. This is why I'm forming Social Evolution Institution. So just as we inch our way away from love or truth by each and every day reinforcing the lie that the world is affecting us, we can now become born again as the cause of our lives by enlightening our mind with the truth as we use miracles to now inch our way back away from that very disturbing human lie to the unconditional and inherent peace of mind. Let me just read that again. To the unconditional and inherent peace of mind that is the effect of this mind correction that I'm talking about here. Here's the paraphrase I'm talking about. In a victim sense, it isn't what someone else did to you that's bothering you now. In fact, it's never what someone else did to you that's bothering you now. And whether the deed was done 10 years ago or 10 seconds ago or even 1 second ago, it's still the same mind situation. No, instead of you being bothered by what they did to you, you're really being bothered by what you're doing to them. I said, instead of you being bothered by what they did to you, you're really being bothered by what you're doing to them. How's that for a switcheroo? And again, you know, I'll bet my life on it. For you aren't bothered by what they did to you, but you are bothered by what you're doing to them. So what is it that you're doing to them where you're thinking in terms of them bothering you or victimizing you? It's this. Right now, in your own mind and at your own choosing, you're role-playing in your mind. You're role-playing in your mind. By reversing cause and effect in your mind, by giving them a role of perpetrator, and you're giving your sense of self a role of victim. And then you're looping those victim stories over and over again and again in your mind, all the while blaming them for what only you can do to yourself. Only you can give yourself your own feelings and your own experiences. Only you can give yourself your own victimized feelings by reversing cause and effect, as I just explained. And that's the end of the paraphrase. In summary, here's a good way to think about how it is that you're totally responsible. I'm going to read that again. It's so important to understand that paraphrase. In a victim sense, it isn't what someone else did to you that's bothering you now. In fact, it's never what someone else did to you that's bothering you now. And whether the deed was done 10 years ago or 10 seconds ago or even 1 second ago, it's still the same mind situation. No, instead of you being bothered by what they did to you, you're really being bothered by what you're doing to them. You aren't bothered by what they did to you, but you are bothered by what you're doing to them. So what is it that you're doing to them where you're thinking in terms of them bothering or victimizing you? It's this. Right now, in your own mind and at your own choosing, you're role-playing in your mind. By reversing cause and effect in your mind, by giving them a role of perpetrator, and you're giving your sense of self a role of victim. And then you're looping those victim stories over and over again and again in your mind, all the while blaming them for what only you can do to yourself. Only you can give yourself victimized feelings by reversing cause and effect, as I just explained. You know, it's if you were doing it in your mind, you're saying, "Oh my God, he did this and he did that, and oh, I said this, he said that, and I'm oh my hell, I'm so oh, it's such a bother." You go over like that. See, you're creating the context. You know, you could say, just keep your mind shut. Instead of keep your mouth shut, just keep your mind shut. You keep doing it again and again to yourself. In summary, here's a good way to think about how it is that you're totally responsible for all your feelings and all of your experiences and all the time, which gives you your own personal truth and your own personal power. The only aspect of your entire life that you're able to relate to is your own defining mind context about this, that, or anything at all. Therefore, think of those defining mind contexts as a sort of any size blanket that contains your beliefs and interpretations about things, which again is called your own defining mind context about things. Then think of every time you encounter this, that, or anything at all, you automatically throw that defining mind context blanket over it and relate to your blanket defining mind context about it, and then try to refrain from saying or thinking, "That makes me happy," or "That makes me upset." Each time you do that, you correct your mind. That's how you, born again as cause, find your own way out of any conflicts and confusions that come along. And you can think about a world where people are doing that, or have done it maybe for say for 5 years or something. People have learned this thought reversal problem, and they've decided to be congruent and have some integrity by working on it, because all of our lives we've been gobbled up by "this makes me happy" and "that makes me upset." And so our life is all filled with all of that kind of bullshit in our mind. The world is affecting us. And so the miracles that I'm talking about are the shifts in perception where you inch your way out of all that mind mess that you're in. I've been doing this for over 25 years, and a society of people that might have been at it for 5 years, nobody would ever use problematic interpretations for anything except when it comes to the care and keeping of bodies. That's the only time anybody in a world like that would ever use a problematic defining mind context. And so they would never have a problematic experience because they just don't use problematic interpretations, you see? Nothing is a problem for them, and that's the truth, except when the care and keeping of bodies is the issue. So thanks a lot for listening to this audio as well.